Good afternoon, everybody. Aaron here. It is June 27th, 2022, Monday. It's been very interesting. So, there's a fire. Last time I checked, 50% contained up on what's called Rainbow Ridge, which is kind of above where I'm chilling a bit, sort of. Not, it's not a threat or anything. I'm not in any danger. There's been no evacuation orders, and they've got a ton of CAL FIRE people all over it because it's close to Highway 5, and they can't have fires on Highway 5 for obvious reasons, which I agree with completely. Um, Anyway, also as a result of that, they've been using the CAL FIRE transport helicopters, the big choppers, not the double blade ones, but the single blade versions, the water droppers. And this one's not one with a bucket, but it's one with a hose. They've been coming in, or yesterday all day, they were coming into Lake Siskiyou to refill. So I went down there with my camera and got some great footage, as you are probably seeing right now. Anyway, that was amazing. And it also, total out of the blue fluke, resulted in me officially becoming a professional videographer. Because during the course of the day, I think it was the second time they came. Yeah, it was the second time it came around. I was down by the lake filming, and this gentleman showed up, and he was also looking to film. And when he saw that I was doing it with a tripod, and that I was getting some pretty decent footage, he immediately offered me $60 to give him copies of the video because he is a pilot for those types of helicopters and Hueys and something called a Jet Pro or something like that. Anyway, he's 3 years in and very close to all his certifications or whatever. So he's really into that side of things, and he wanted a copy of the video to show off to his friends who are also pilots. But yeah, it was just so strange. Like, I wasn't expecting it. Like, nothing to insinuate that I wanted money for anything. It wasn't even on my mind. His presence, the only thing I was thinking about was that my dogs were going to be cool, so he'd feel comfortable coming down there to get video too, because it was a good place to get a shot. I'm not selfish. And we had a nice little conversation and everything. And then all of a sudden, yeah, it's like, here, have $60, which is great because I really needed it. Broke. I can buy soap, which I desperately need, and do some laundry and get some more wet wipes. And yeah, there's other things I wasn't expecting to have money, so it's like not even on my mind, like what things I need to have. Like, I'm really good at getting used to living without cash. I will find some way to accomplish what I need to do. It's not that I stop doing things, that I don't stop cleaning, I don't stop doing laundry, I don't stop repairing things. I just look for incredibly inventive, free ways to do things. Free boxes, bathing in rivers, bathing often with hot water. Amazing what a difference that makes. I need to do a video with a list of all the things that are useful if you're not just camping, but like you're doing van life. A lot of the things that I picked up when I did have a couple vans are still useful today. Like having a porta potty, some way to shower, things like that. Still want to design my own van. But anyway, yeah, so I'm a professional videographer. A bunch of videos are up on YouTube now. You can see them. Putting more up. I got an incredible video. That was the other thing that happened. So, talk about your coincidences. I've never been this close to a helicopter like that before. It was such a fluke to do it. It was so incredible. I was really close. Like, I was feeling the spray and the wind from the blades, like, blowing me back, and you could feel it in some of them. Some, like, it would land at different spots of the lake, so I wasn't always in the right place. And in the beginning, I was chasing it because I thought, I could figure out where I was going to land all the time. Then after I talked to the pilot, he told me that the way they come in, it depends on how the wind is blowing. It really dramatically affects their approach. And also, there were all kinds of, it was a Sunday, so there were all kinds of people out on the lake on their boats and swimming and all this stuff. It was a big show for everybody on the beach. We loved it. I got to see London swim for the first time. London, I've never seen him swim, and London has never seen people swim, including me. And his reaction to seeing children swimming off of the beach was to immediately jump into the water and swim out to them and just swim around them. Like, I assumed it looked like he was waiting for them to like grab onto them, like they needed to be rescued or something like that. So yeah, he's a natural born rescue dog, but I was worried because I'd never seen him swim, and he was just out there just treading water like crazy. And he's just a go 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 dog. He's one of those dogs that just doesn't quit. My goodness, he's a powerhouse. Um, so I dropped my bag and went running into the water to get him and make sure he was okay. It was just really awkward because I had this backpack and these leashes and this tripod, and I was trying to get video of this helicopter that was landing right in front of us, and then my dog's running into the water to try and rescue these kids that didn't need to be rescued. Anyway, yeah, it was cool. Uh, it worked out. I got brown skin. There's a bunch of Latinos out there. Mexicans, Latinos in general are just really chill with other people if they think they're Latino. If you got brown skin, they just kind of assume. I figured that out one of the two times. Was it two times or three times I was in jail for stupid things? Um, like literally ridiculousness. Because I don't pay tickets. I don't care. I refuse. I consider it extortion, and I refuse to do it. And so that's landed me in jail a couple times. Like they will actually put you in jail if they put the warrant out and you happen to be in the area in the first place where the warrant was. They will bother to pick you up sometimes. They don't do that to me anymore. This was actually quite a while ago. They just don't do it anymore. I've had plenty of run-ins with the police since then for things that are unrelated to me. If you live in a trailer park, you'll understand. TikTok. I mess around with it sometimes and upload stuff there, and I don't bother really to look at it or my comments because I don't get any. But I bothered to look at occasionally, like there's always one or two, and so uh, I put up the video of when the cops took my van slash home transportation, which I'm still upset about to this day, and is why I'm still here in the Mount Shasta area to this day. And this guy's response to it was get a job. Okay, first of all, I had a job here in this area since then. Two different jobs, well, three different jobs actually. I first went in to a rundown house and got a place to live in that house in exchange for helping to fix it up. It had been gutted out by fire, and like the bathroom barely even worked. And for the privilege of living in the attic, which was unfinished, unheated, and I lived there in the winter. This person was charging me $800 a month. In other words, how that worked out was they were paying me $10 an hour, and I had to work 80 hours a month just to live there. Just to live there. And when I went to do it, I had been living outside in the dead of winter, and it was a really bad winter here, and I was having a really hard time. And so I was like, "This is it. I got to go back indoors." And so I put ads up. If anybody has a place for me to stay, I will do work for that. And so she came along and offered me. And when she gave me the deal, I was like, "Well, that seems kind of excessive, but I am desperate and will take anything right now." And so under that agreement, I went in there. And when I at the time I blew it off as like, well, maybe it's a kind of upscale mountainy area. Maybe that's just like the going rent for this play area. I eventually found out no, you can get places for a fraction of the cost. Months later, after I got an actual job at McDonald's, where I lasted a whole year before being driven to the verge of literal suicide. You're talking to a person who taught themselves network engineering, okay, and and it's unfair for me to expect people to just take me back into the professional world after I went off on this crazy hiatus for so long. But at the same time, it's unfair to expect me, with my intellect and my skills that I still have to this day, to work at a place like McDonald's. And despite that, okay, and it's not like I didn't try to get work other places and wasn't applying to places online. McDonald's was the only place that would have me. Okay. So I bit the bullet and lasted a year there before I was like, I can't take this anymore. And while I was working there, I moved out of that place. Once I found you could find cheaper places to live, I was like, well, forget this. I told that lady, see you later, and went and lived in this dilapidated, rundown motel turned into apartments that was also connected to another property that was a trailer park. I was living there, and so when I quit at McDonald's, I left. I couldn't take it anymore. I mentally could not take it anymore. And I left. And I was under the impression, okay, well, I don't have money to pay rent anymore. I'm going to have to, at that point, I immediately thought I was going back outdoors. And this was after being indoors for like about a year and a half altogether, including the house and the motel. Um, yeah, I have to think about it. I don't tend to spend a lot of time pondering these things. I try to think forward. Moving. So anyway, um, at that point, yeah, after I quit McDonald's, I was like, well, I'm screwed. I'm going back outdoors. That's all right, whatever. I have to do it. But the landlord of the place had taken a kind of liking to me and didn't want me to leave. And at the time, I kind of just bought into it as like kind of like a motherly nurturing thing. She was married and stuff like that, and that's how she kind of came on at first and like that. And anyway, she offered me work at the place in exchange for still staying there. And eventually, that turned into more work, which involved some money on top of being able to live there still. But it was never that much. The most I ever made was like maybe $800 in a month, and that was rare. Usually, I made around between $300 and $500 a month, which was just enough to pay for my bills and my groceries, and keep going to work there every day, but not enough to do anything else. And I was on call there 24/7. They needed me to be on call there 24/7. Wasn't getting anything extra for that, but it also precluded me getting any other kind of work because I never knew when I was going to be expected to go and dig a giant hole through feces and look for some cracked pipe or deal with flooding inside of some rat infested, cockroach infested apartment. Or, oh my God, there are situations where I literally had to have a kind of hazmat suit on. Like, oh, there was this one lady, we called the cat lady or cat piss lady, after we had to clean up the apartment. She had all these cats that she just let pee everywhere in the place. And the whole floor was just soaked through with cat urine. I spent days cleaning that up, actually weeks, cleaning that up and painting over it with this stuff they call Kills, which is some kind of latex paint that like gets rid of or cover over mold or anything, and it makes it safe somehow. I don't know. It's basically slumlords. The people who own the place were ex-cops. So 3 years that lasted before it finally blew up because it kept stringing me along, making me think that I was going to eventually take over as the sole property manager, which would actually been a really awesome position for me and something I could have, helped to add add to my portfolio of skills, and maybe even possibly led to me eventually owning my own properties and managing my own properties. But turns out they were really just stringing me along so that they could keep collecting disability while pretending to not work on paper, though they were. And yeah, so that came to a head, and a lot of things happened. And anyway, the long and short of it, I'm back outdoors broke and still stuck in the same place I was stuck in before. Only a lot more upset about it because I had time to get used to being indoors again, and I did not want to come back outside. And yada, 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 yada. My problems, my problems, my problems. It's not really anybody's fault except my parents. I was reading this one post by Max Kaiser, who's a big proponent or advocate for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general. And he said, anybody who didn't, I hope congratulations or whatever to those people who bought this recent dip, the recent market crash in cryptocurrency. It's also been a major sale in Bitcoin. And if you're not buying it right now and you have money like I don't, you're stupid. But it's not that you're stupid, you're just uninformed as to like what's going on in the world of finance. And it just pains me to know so much about it these days because I started getting into that back in like 2017, but I've never had a lot of money to invest, and I had a lot of lessons to learn, and I was always investing with money that I needed to pay bills in the first place. So it's basically like trying to gamble every month, and I didn't fully understand the whole concept behind swing trading and going in and out and not staying in and all the different things that I've learned since then. But I'm still broke now. Whatever. Yeah, it's painful to know a lot about finance. And like, if I had a lot of money, like if I had $100,000 or God willing $1 million, I'd be set for life. Like, I know what to do with that now, and I could make that carry me for the rest of my life without ever having to like work at a McDonald's or any other minimum wage place ever again, and maybe even like contribute to society and creating jobs that are, geared towards sustainability and financial prosperity for all the people who are involved in the company instead of treating them like slaves, which is how the current um, version of capitalism is functioning. It's just slavery rebranded. It's literally slavery rebranded. It just and it wouldn't be so bad if the people who were enslaved were really just not capable of anything else but the menial tasks that they're carrying out. But the fact of the matter is that we have this education system that intentionally churns out people who are just smart enough to do the tasks needed to make the rich richer. That's it. And when people in government and the military talk about protecting America and furthering protecting American values and furthering American interests, when they say America, they just mean other people in government and the military. Like, that is what they're actually thinking about when they say those words. The rest of us, we're just cannon fodder and wage slaves and expendable garbage they don't give two shits about. And they tell themselves, oh, that we're just dumb and idiots and that we're not capable of anything more and we're not worth much and, we're lucky that we have what we have because of them. And it's a fact that the only reason that we are in this repressive poverty-like state, relatively speaking, I say relatively because if you've ever been to India, and I have, you know that the United States doesn't know the first thing about poverty. But still, principle and matter and all. It's bullshit. It's bullshit, right? And it's fair in the sense that if you realize that you can get yourself out, hopefully, if it hasn't been too long and you haven't screwed yourself so bad, um, and even as bad as things are for me, I can still get myself out. It's just going to take time and ingenuity, and I'm really going to have to think about things in a way that I didn't before. So it's taking time to develop these new thought processes, to get these new neurons and synapses connecting in my brain in new ways that they never did before, because I was too overly completely obsessed with the end of the world and thinking that nothing was really worthwhile anyways, because in some way, shape, or form there was an apocalypse coming, because everybody on the planet is so obsessed with it in some way. It's got to be real. But you know what? I don't think it is. I don't think the end of the world is coming. It's something we're constantly afraid of, possibly because of past cataclysms, and it's kind of ingrained in us genetically, or maybe it's some kind of weird control mechanism. I don't know. Regardless, it's not worth worrying about. It's definitely not worth not doing anything with your life over. You got to do something. You might as well. You don't have to do something, but in my opinion, for me personally, I might as well do something because I can think of a lot of things to do, no matter what the state of the world is. I just, you know, I, it's a very interesting life to me, and it could be way more interesting than it is for me currently. And I'm just trying to figure out how to make that happen as fast and as sustainably as possible. Yeah. And I think I'm going to keep it short for today. I just wanted to do a quick check-in, get a few things off my mind, and that was it. Have a lovely June, and I'll talk to you soon.